All right, so this is installment number 2 of whatever this is going to turn out to be. And today was actually a pretty good day. Started it off by a little 1-mile run and then started to apply some stuff today that I had learned about and kind of applied a little bit earlier in the year 2024. And so the stuff I'm talking about, it comes from a video that I watched by this guy named Rian Doris. And he studies things like flow state. And basically what he was trying to convey was the actual impact that using your phone to scroll social media and whatnot throughout the day actually is doing to your ability to focus. Right? This is important because flow state has to do with your ability to focus, to, lock in to an activity, right? It's prevented, flow state is prevented by things that impact your focus. And that can be a slew of things, right? But your phone is definitely one of those things. But essentially what he was trying to get across was that when you are using your phone as almost like a dopamine boost device, right? We all know that kind of buzzword, dopamine and whatnot. But what he was trying to get across to us is that work itself does give you a dopamine rush, although it's delayed gratification, right? Whereas your phone is an instant gratification device, right? And the dopamine rush you get is stronger than the dopamine rush you would get by doing work. For me, that's writing lectures or learning to code, things like that. And so that was speaking to me because I was running into all these problems towards the end of my day with kind of a crash, getting to a point where I didn't want to work anymore. I wanted to turn to these other devices that I knew were there. And I applied this method really well earlier on in the year. As I mentioned, it started to, instead of being on my phone during breaks from work, let's say for lunch or even for dinner, whatever it is, instead of being on my phone, simply just doing that activity, right? So if I'm cooking lunch, just cook lunch. If I'm listening to music, just listen to music. If I'm waiting for something, waiting in line, just being patient and actually waiting. And what that's doing is training your brain to maintain its attention on things that are normally boring for us, especially in this world where there's so much to steal our attention away, right? Things like meditation are great for this purpose because you're forcefully imputing boring into your day, despite the fact that that sounds counterintuitive, right? Why would we want to increase the instances of boredom in our life? And really what that does for us is helps us to focus longer on activities that maybe we've grown to be activities that are harder for us now. So like I mentioned earlier on in the year, doing better at that, kind of stopped for about a month or two, just was kind of getting back into some old habits, not as much scrolling, but kind of relying on video games after a day of work to dumb out. But really what was happening, I think, in my brain was that time that I started playing video games was starting to encroach on the time that I was supposed to be working. And as I got closer to the time that I told myself mentally that I was going to stop working, my brain would start to slowly twist my attention away from the work at hand to the video games that were going to come. Kind of telling my brain, what you're doing right now isn't very productive in terms of work, right? Because it's not giving you the dopamine rush you could get from video games, thus pulling the time I was going to play video games further or closer into the day and making it more difficult for me to work, especially in the afternoon. And so today, what I did, and yesterday as well, is I'm not playing any video games, and I'm probably going to try to learn how to mix some of those bad habits in and not go full monk mode. But for right now, I need a break, right? I need a way for my brain to not have distractions that are available. And I'm not scrolling, not taking my phone to, the bathroom or using it during lunch, or all these ways that it creeps into my life. So it was a good day in that aspect. I don't know where this will go in the future, but I definitely noticed today that as I got further into the day of my work, right, I did not feel that crash as much, especially my attention. Physical crashes are probably their own thing, but a mental crash is definitely worse and made worse the more that we use devices to steal our attention away or convince our brains that what's more exciting is not the work that we're doing. And so if you'd like to look more into this stuff, I'm not an expert on it. I'll probably link that video, maybe some other videos, other books or things like that in the description. So here's to day 2. About to go to the gym. Got some coding and stuff done today. Wrote a lecture for my intro class this fall. Just hoping for some more days like this, and I'll keep you guys updated.